I wish I had a longer road ahead of me. I want to walk it with you.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the 20 video games with the best romance options. We're not including dating simulators because those belong on a separate list of their own.
Grown kinda cold out here.
Not true. But this is nice.
Number 20, Starfield.
So, if you're willing to take that leap of faith with someone like me, then I'm ready to do the same.
Skyrim's romance options were solid for the time, especially in a Western game, but Bethesda has improved on its formula over the years. In Fallout 4, you're able to romance most of your companions, though they do feel shallow when the game lets you romance all of them at once with no consequences. Starfield is different though. Like Skyrim, it has marriage options for 4 of your companions once you build up your affinity high enough, which involves doing things they like and taking them on quests. You can also choose to divorce them and marry someone else, or they can end things with you if you anger them too much.
I just hate to think of anything coming between us, whether now or in the future.
Number 19, Potionomics.
I'm helping them set better terms. Don't be surprised when they start passing the savings on to you.
This same game uses deck mechanics to help Sylvia build a life for herself, brewing and selling potions to the locals to pay off her uncle's debt. Along with all the life sim and business sim elements, which are great, and it develops into having very complex and strategic gameplay for those who like that, it's also got romance options. There's a huge variety of romanceable characters, and choosing to date one and building up your relationship has material benefits because you'll unlock new cards and strategies. It's also one of the rare games that has a free love mode to enable polyamory if you want. Though if that's not your taste, you can keep it to the classic one love mode.
And then there's the matter of our romantic entanglement.
Number 18, Saints Row 4.
Oh, what the hell?
Much of Saints Row 4 is a direct parody of Mass Effect, though it also sets other big franchises like Call of Duty and GTA in its sights. While lounging around on the nameless ship, the boss can romance all of their companions, with the exception of Keith David, who rejects your advances. As in other games, none of the characters care that the boss can get it on with any and all of them, though some of the cutscenes are a little more nuanced than others. Shandi and Pierce, for instance. They're not romance options that lead to marriage or relationships, but there are plenty of games out there with even shallower options that take themselves seriously.
But nothing worked. Nothing ever made me feel alive like you did. And I always thought it was just because I was depressed, but seeing you now has made me realize how much I need you. I know I'm not Aisha, and I'm not trying to be, but if...
Number 17, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Any more and I'll drown. Ha! I am the meat queen, slayer of wolves and barrels. I told you I would drink you under the table.
Ubisoft added romances, or some version of them, in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, though there are non-optional romantic storylines in older games. While every romance was seemingly small in Odyssey, Valhalla lets you pursue actual relationships with its characters. All romances are available no matter what gender Eivor is, with Petra the hunter and Tarban the baker being standouts. But of course, one romance option is a cut above the rest, Randvi. Beginning the game as your adoptive brother's abandoned wife and Eivor's closest confidant, a romance can blossom long before she leaves Sigurd for good. You may get the worst ending of the game if you do this, but she's worth it.
Then don't. We can stay here as long as you like. Yes. What was that?
Number 16, Unicorn Overlord.
No thanks.
But I haven't even said anything yet. Sorry, I think there's been a mistake.
Good. It's better this way.
After finally completing all the quests in Elheim, Elaine will be given the Ring of the Maiden, which is the unique item you need to present to one of the love interests to get them to permanently commit. You've built rapport with the characters you want to romance up to 3 levels by sharing meals and giving gifts. And when you've done that and have the ring, you can finally propose. You also need to choose the correct dialogue options to make them see that marriage is a good option. Though the actual romance interactions are short, they're all superbly written, and you'll still spend lots of time with the characters on your adventure.
So you better not go giving that crown to anyone else. At least, not if you want me sticking around.
Number 15. Story of Seasons series. The franchise, formerly known as Harvest Moon, has been around for decades, but only recently changed its name to match the Japanese title. As the original farming and life sim, Story of Seasons has been hugely influential and has featured a marriage mechanic in most of its entries. With the game spanning decades of in-game time, you can build deep relationships with the people you meet, including marrying them and having children. And in Tree of Tranquility, you can continue playing as the child after the end, adding an inheritance mechanic. It's this that adds depth to the romance, which mechanically revolves around giving gifts. Number 14. Fallout 2. If you assumed that the Fallout series didn't have romance until Fallout 4, excluding certain paid encounters you can indulge in, you'd be wrong. The romance options aren't particularly nuanced in Fallout 2, with the chosen one provided with two options, Miria or Davin. With enough charisma and reputation in MODOK, you'll get caught in the act of seducing one of them and forced into a shotgun wedding to make it right. Circumstances aside, this gives Fallout 2 the landmark distinction of being the first ever video game to have same-sex marriage. Yes, including The Sims. It's a shame that the romance options don't get their own talking heads though. Number 13. Life is Strange series.
Being together this week, it was the best farewell gift I could have hoped for. You're my hero, Max.
The first game in the series gave players a lot of complex choices, primarily between the two love interests, Max's male high school crush Warren and her female childhood best friend Chloe. You'll then also need to choose between saving Chloe at the end of the game and sacrificing the entire town to a tornado, or letting her die at the beginning for the greater good. Subsequent games have followed this formula, with protagonists getting two developed love interests to choose from, leading to plenty of debate among fans about which is better. Even other don't-nod adventure games like Tell Me Why follow the Life is Strange formula for story and romance.
Hey, you're missing the show.
Number 12. Divinity Dragon Commander.
All right, Falstaff, put a sock in it. I'd rather see you drink than drivel. So I'm becoming of a dwarf.
Arguably the best romance studio in the business, Larian has always had exceptional love stories in its games. 2013's Divinity RTS was no exception. The most interesting choices in Dragon Commander relate to the world's political situation and how you treat the members of each race, since you're going to need their support to seize control of Rivellon. But part of this involves picking one of 4 wives, one from each of the 4 races, to help you achieve your political goals. The marriages aren't particularly romantic, but they are tied heavily to the plot and the decisions you need to make as a leader.
Lizard and dragon. It would be an advantageous union. Think on it, Commander. What ambition I have compels me to hope I will be your cow, or should I say choice.
Number 11. Dragon's Dogma series.
Let me apologize. I was as like to die of shame as Dragon's Fire. To have been the beast's captive so easily and to have caused you peril for it. I am sorry.
Rather than pressing the heart-shaped dialogue options at every opportunity, romance works differently in Dragon's Dogma. Almost every NPC in the entire game can become your romance option, which the first game calls your beloved, as long as you have a high enough affinity, which you get by spending time with them and giving them gifts. This will culminate in your favorite NPC being kidnapped by a dragon at a pivotal moment and you being sent in to rescue them. It's a great way to build stakes and a slightly more organic way to develop a relationship, more akin to how romance works in real life.
I must see it with my own eyes, uncover its mysteries. The journey will not be easy, I'm sure.
Number 10. Catherine.
So are you getting anything extra for this?
For what?
For all this overtime you're doing.
Not this time.
Unlike other games on this list, Catherine is all about romance from the get-go while still not being a dating simulator. The brunt of its gameplay are those notoriously difficult block-sliding platforming puzzles as Vincent gets lost in his nightmares and tries to escape his own subconscious. He's torn between committing fully to his long-term girlfriend Catherine with a K, or indulging in his most base desires with the younger and more exciting Catherine with a C, whose true nature is one of the game's core mysteries. 2019's full-body remake added a third character, Rin, who's an even more interesting option, but we won't spoil anything here.
I don't know. I think it's sweet. Isn't it, Toby?
I told you I like girls. You too, right, Vincent?
Number 9. Final Fantasy VII Remake and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Just till the ride's over.
It's an age-old question. Do you choose Aerith or Tifa? Or maybe even Barret? All of those options and more are yours to explore in Final Fantasy VII, both the PS1 original and the big-budget remakes. Both girls are major party members, and given the extreme length of the remake so far, with a third on the way, you'll be spending a lot of time with them, making these relationships more personal than most virtual ones. You can, of course, avoid romance entirely if you prefer Cloud as a loner, but that love triangle is hard to resist. Be warned though, depending on who Cloud opens up to, he may end up with his heart irreparably broken.
What? Shake on it.
Number 8. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Because I don't feel that anything's changed either. I love you, Yen.
And I love you.
Geralt's got a few witches to choose from in the third Witcher game, and though he can have a brief tryst with Keira Metz, you'll mostly spend your time choosing between Triss and Yennefer. Triss is a fascinating character, and you'll be helping her out regardless of Geralt's feelings if you want to complete all the side quests and help the mages in Novigrad. But Yennefer remains the canon choice. The quests with Yennefer are some of the game's highlights, with the banter between them making the bond feel real. There are reasons CDPR is always praised for its writing, and Geralt's weakness for powerful sorceresses may just be one of them.
I missed this Geralt, you know?
Meaning?
Oh, the Geralt who's not afraid to open up to me. Tell me what he really feels, what he wants.
Number 7. Mass Effect series.
You mean Turian ships have crewmen fighting each other before a mission?
It's supervised, of course. Nobody's going to risk an injury that interferes with the mission, and it's a good way to settle grudges amicably.
Certain romance options carry over across the entire Mass Effect trilogy, with characters like Garrus and Tali being party members in every single game, though you can't romance either of them in the first one. The 3 characters you can romance initially will also return in the third game, namely Liara, Kaidan, and Ashley, though either Kaidan or Ashley will have died as a result of a choice in the first game. This adds huge depth to the options, with Shepard able to discuss the events of the previous games during later romance scenes, reminiscing about taking down Saren or Harbinger for instance, and the Citadel DLC was a perfect way to say goodbye to these years-long relationships.
I was going to bring music, but I didn't know what you'd like, and I'm babbling like an idiot.
It's okay. Come here.
Number 6. Stardew Valley. We already talked about Harvest Moon, but Stardew Valley has forever raised the expectations for a farming RPG and life sim. As one of the most beloved games ever made, Stardew Valley sends you to the countryside to rebuild your family's old farm in Pelican Town. While there, you'll find love and friendship among the townsfolk, with 12 potential partners to choose from. 2 of the most popular on the Bachelor side are Sebastian and Shane, with Shane being intriguing because of how much time and effort it takes to win him over. On the Bachelorette side, however, the most popular are Abigail and Leia, due to their hobbies and some pretty interesting interactions between the two. Once you progress the relationships by giving gifts, you can eventually get married and have kids on the farm. Number 5. Dragon Age Inquisition. While characters regularly return in Dragon Age, just like Mass Effect, the romance options are all different. Inquisition undoubtedly has the deepest and most intriguing romance system, with Origins and 2 being more limited. But Inquisition has a wealth of options, including fan-favorite characters like Iron Bull, Solus, and Cassandra. Characters also have defined sexualities, thus ruling them out as love interests depending on how you made your Inquisitor, which adds to the realism. Not only is it the best Dragon Age game for romance, but it's also the best BioWare romance game in general.
The last 3 years have been a joy. I cannot have asked for more love or a better friend. But to take such a drastic step, despite all the consequences or how it would appear, I fear what it might do to us. Do you not feel the same?
Number 4. Cyberpunk 2077.
I like you. Want to see you lots. Way I see it, there isn't anything else to consider.
Wanna go there now?
You can if you want. Gonna stick around for a bit before I head back.
If anyone thought the romances in The Witcher 3 were only so well written because they were based on a series of books, they were definitely proven wrong with the release of this game. While it's also got existing source material, the romanceable characters are unique with 4 to choose from. That's including Johnny's tumultuous relationships with Rogue and Alt Cunningham. For V, your options are Judy Alvarez, Panam Palmer, River Ward, and Carrie Uridine. It's hard to put into words how beautifully written these stories are, particularly Judy and Panam, the most popular options. They also call you on the phone and send you text messages throughout the game.
Try following the impulse next time.
Okay. Well, in any case, you've been warned. All right, let's rejoin the others.
Number 3. Persona 5.
I got quite the scoop yesterday. A boyfriend caught cheating. I'm not very happy about it, though.
Yet another Atlas game, Persona 5 improved on the romances of Persona 4 by miles. Infamously, Persona 5 is one of the few games that lets you romance every single girl at once, only to get royally called out for it when they all find out. But if you decide not to behave like a dirtbag, there's roughly a dozen girls to choose from. You'll still want to spend time with all of them to level up your social links, but you should definitely stick to just one if you don't want all the other ones to hate you, though they'll eventually forgive Joker anyhow. The 2 most popular options are Anne and Makoto, but there are plenty more as well.
I was still stressed when I came here, but seeing you helps. I feel like I can finally breathe again.
Number 2. Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
But you have been a brilliant light. Somehow you have chased the darkness away. And for that, I will always be grateful.
Dozens of characters to get to know across each of the game's 3 houses, you're pretty spoiled for choice of who to romance here. The most popular options are the house leaders, Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude, but you're not limited by how important a character is. Dorothea is also a popular option, but 3 Houses has the unique trait of being one of the few games where other characters can couple up. Depending on who you choose to have in your party and how much time they spend together, you can encourage the relationships of the NPCs. You can also eventually get married in Fire Emblem, with the relationship spanning many in-game years.
I still feel that way, you know? I always will. That's why I have to leave. But nothing will stop me from coming back. There's no way I'm gonna let you go. You know that, don't you?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Baldur's Gate 3.
Yours. Mine. Our collective ecstasy. That's what you want, isn't it? To lose yourself in me.
Could it have really been anything else? In 2023, the world was taken by storm with the release of Baldur's Gate 3 and its outrageously sexy characters. The infamous bear romance scene emerged ahead of release, and while that one is particularly scandalous, the other romances will leave you just as flustered. Undoubtedly, the most popular options are Astarion and Karlach, the vampire boyfriend and demon girlfriend respectively. There's something for everyone here, and it's no surprise that Larian has not only set a new precedent for what video game romances should be like, but also a guide for how future games can do it better. Hopefully, all RPGs follow in Baldur's Gate's footsteps.
You know what?
That was never part of my plan. But in this fantasy, I can picture it. You, me, two little us's. That's a pretty picture, isn't it?
Let us know in the comments which video games you think are the most romantic.